Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Today we'll be diving into the fascinating world of oligopoly in microeconomics. We'll explore how market structures shape firm strategies, look closely at competition and collusion, and understand the role of regulation in these markets. I'm excited to guide you through these key concepts and their real-world applications, helping us better grasp how businesses operate under oligopolistic conditions. Let's get started. The example image shows a shelf stocked with various scalp care products, illustrating how a few key players control a significant portion of the market, influencing prices and availability. Here we see the key characteristics of an oligopoly, a market structure dominated by just a few large firms. First, these firms control most of the market share, making it difficult for smaller competitors to gain traction. This concentration leads to high barriers to entry, meaning new competitors face significant challenges when trying to enter or expand within the market. Lastly, there's mutual interdependence. Companies closely watch and respond to each other's pricing, advertising, and product decisions. This dynamic means that any move by one firm can trigger reactions from the others, influencing the market as a whole. The image here, showing a mix of different businesses, helps illustrate how these firms coexist and compete in shared spaces. Here we're looking at some real-world examples of oligopolies across different industries. Starting with airlines, a handful of major carriers really dominate the market. This means they have a strong influence over ticket prices and the routes offered, limiting consumer options. Moving on to smartphones, only a few brands lead the market, which impacts how much innovation we see and what products are available to us. In the automobile sector, top manufacturers control most of the sales. This concentration shapes the features of the cars and their pricing, giving consumers fewer alternatives. Lastly, wireless carriers are another clear example. With limited providers setting plans and coverage options, customers find their choices restricted in this space. The close-up image of the Ford Mustang emblem ties into the automobile example, emphasizing how prominent those few players are in their industries. Overall, these examples highlight how oligopolies can affect our everyday decisions and market dynamics. Here we're looking at two main types of oligopoly. First, the homogeneous oligopoly, where firms offer products that are very similar or even identical. In this scenario, competition centers largely on pricing strategies since the products themselves don't differ much. Then we have the differentiated oligopoly, where companies set themselves apart through branding, unique features, or enhanced service rather than just competing on price. This kind of competition focuses more on creating a distinct identity for the product to attract customers. The image on the right, with vintage food and beverage packaging, illustrates how product differentiation can come from design and branding, helping firms stand out in the market. Here, we focus on the concept of strategic interdependence. In any competitive market, each firm must carefully anticipate how their rivals will react before making key decisions. This anticipation isn't just about guessing. It directly shapes choices around pricing, the amount of product they produce, and the quality they offer. Essentially, firms are locked in a constant dance, where every move depends on predicting the other's moves. Understanding this mutual anticipation is crucial for developing effective strategies that can lead to success in a competitive environment. Here we focus on the interaction between pricing, output, and game theory in an oligopoly. First, firms in such markets make decisions that are interrelated. Each company's pricing and output choices impact the others, creating a situation where strategic interaction becomes essential. Understanding these interdependencies helps explain why firms behave the way they do. Next, game theory models, like the prisoner's dilemma, give us valuable insights into these dynamics. They show why companies might end up with outcomes that are less profitable, even though cooperation could benefit everyone. Essentially, these models highlight the challenges in achieving collaboration when each firm is motivated by self-interest. The chessboard image reflects this strategic decision-making process, where every move depends on anticipating the other's response. Here we're looking at how firms in an oligopoly might work together to influence the market. They may collude, either openly or tacitly, to raise prices or limit how much they produce. This kind of behavior often forms cartels, which are typically illegal because they hurt competition and ultimately consumers. That's why antitrust laws and enforcement are so important. They help keep the market fair and protect consumer interests by preventing these anti-competitive agreements. The image shows a group discussing an application form, symbolizing the negotiations or agreements that could happen behind the scenes in such collusions. Here we can see a comparison between oligopoly and other market structures like perfect competition, monopolistic competition, and monopoly. Starting with the number of firms, in an oligopoly there are only a few firms, which is quite different from perfect and monopolistic competition where many firms exist. Regarding barriers to entry, oligopolies have high barriers, making it difficult for new competitors to enter, whereas perfect competition has low barriers and monopolistic competition has low to moderate barriers. When it comes to product differentiation, oligopolies can offer either homogeneous or differentiated products, while perfect competition involves homogeneous products and monopolistic competition features differentiated ones. Finally, in terms of control over price, firms in an oligopoly have significant and strategic control, unlike perfect competition where firms are price takers. Monopolies, on the other hand, have very high barriers, produce unique products, and hold significant control over price as price makers. This table helps highlight how the oligopoly stands out particularly in terms of the number of firms, barriers to entry, and the nature of pricing power. To wrap things up, let's focus on the main takeaways about oligopoly. This market structure is characterized by a small number of large firms, each of which makes decisions that directly affect the others. Because these companies are interdependent, their strategies around pricing, advertising, innovation, and even how they respond to regulations are closely linked. Understanding this dynamic is key to grasping how many major industries operate and compete. The influence of oligopolies is a major factor shaping market behavior and consumer choices.